Hello everyone. In this class, today we're gonna see Strategic Management Unit 2. First thing which we're gonna see is Industry Analysis. It's the meaning. It is a market assessment tool used by a business and analysis to understand the competitive dynamics of an industry. So it helps them get a sense of what is happening in an industry. So what is happening in industry is finding means industry analysis. For example, that is demand supply statistics. It means the degree of competition within the industry. The state of competition means of the industry, emerging industries, future prospects of the industry, taking into the account technological changes, credit system within the industry, and the influence of external factors in the industry. So which means it is industrial analysis. Okay, industry analysis for an entrepreneur or a company is a method that helps it to understand its position relative to other participants in the country. So it helps them to identify both the opportunities and threats coming their way and gives them a strong idea of present and future scenario of the industry. It will give the future scenario, present and future scenario. It helps to find the dynamics of an industry, competitive dynamics of an industry. So it helps them to identify the both opportunities and threats coming their way and gives them a strong idea of the present and future scenario of the industry. The key to surviving in this ever-changing business environment is to understand the differences between yourself and your competitors in the industry and using it to your full advantage. So industry analysis means it is a tool used for a business analysis. Mainly we are using this for to identify present and future scenario of industry or an organization. Next which one we're going to see is types of industry analysis. The first one, competitive forces, which was invented by Porter, P-O-R-T-E-R, Porter. He gave 5 forces. So first we have to know what is competitive forces. Okay, so one of the famous models ever developed for industry analysis is competitive forces at Porter's 5 forces. So in this, okay, the first one was competitive. The second one is broad factor analysis, means pest analysis. Okay, pest analysis, which we gonna see later, coming next topic. And then third one is SWOT analysis. So first one we gonna see is under industry analysis types. First one is competitive forces models. Porter's 5 forces. So one of the most famous models for ever developed for a industry analysis. So according to Porter, what he said is analysis of 5 forces gives an accurate impression of industry. So it will give an accurate impression of the industry and make analysis easier. So in our corporate or a business strategy course, we cover these five forces. So power of complementary good or services is provided. So under this intensity, the industry means threat of potential entrance. They will find a threat of potential entrance, bargaining power of buyers and bargaining power of suppliers, threat of substitute goods or services, and power of complementary goods or services providers. So under this, we're going to see the first one, intensity of industry rivalry. The forces, under forces, the first one is, this is Porter's five forces. We're going to see the power of complementary goods and services. Okay, under this, the intensity of industry rivalry, which means a number of participants in the industry and their respective market shares are a different representation of a competitive of an industry. So these are directly affected by all the factors mentioned above. Means lack of differentiation in products tends to add to the intensity of competition. High exit cost like high fixed assets, government restrictions, labor unions, etc. Also make the competitors fight the battle a little harder. The second one in this, threats of potential entrance, which means it indicates the ease with which new firm can enter the market of a particular industry. So if it is easy to enter an industry, company faces the constant risk of new competitors. So it will mainly identify the potential entrance which can compete with other industry, which is potential. If the entry is difficult, whichever the company enjoys little competitive advantage. So the benefits of a longer period, also under difficult every circumstance, companies face a constant set of competitors. So in this, threat potential entrance mainly means it indicates lower, means if it is easy the industry, the more industry will come there and competition will be in more. They don't know the potential analysis. So if it is difficult, they will get a limited competition. With that, they will enjoy their competitive advantage, and also they can do their work properly. The third one, bargaining power of suppliers. In this refers to the bargaining power of suppliers. If the industry relies on a small number of suppliers, they enjoy a considerable amount of bargaining power. So this can affect small business because it directly influences the quality and the price. So the bargaining power directly influences the quality and price of the final products. The fourth one, bargaining power of buyers, which we already say. No, bargaining power of suppliers. We already seen this suppliers. It is bargaining power of buyers. Means the company, it's a complete opposite happens when the bargaining power lies with the customers. If the customers are buyers, enjoy the market power, they are in the position to bargaining or a negotiate to lower prices, the better quality or additional services or a discount. This can case in an industry with more competitors but with a single buyer constituting a large share of industry sales. Then fifth one is threat of substitute goods or services. In this, the industry is always competing with another industry in producing a similar substitute product. So hence, all firms in the industry have a potential competitors from other industries. So this takes toll on their profitability because they are unable to charge the prices. So in the two forms, the product with the same function or a quality but lesser price, or a products of the same price but the better quality, or providing more utility. These are the threats. Threats under competitive Porter's 5 forces models. Okay. So in this we already seen Porter's 5 forces. The first one, intensity of industry rivalry, which means we already seen the intensity. Intensity means what intention the participants are in the industry. They are differently affected by the factors. So lack of differentiation of a products, it will add the competition. So it will add the competition. Threat of potential entrance means threat of potential organization. If the company's entrance is a difficult, they can't, they easily the potential entrance will come the organization. If it is easy, the more organization will come, the they have to find the potential entrance. Third one, bargaining power of suppliers. They should bargain the powers of suppliers because without supplying they won't bargaining the power of suppliers. The fourth one, bargaining power of buyers. The buyers also bargaining for a lesser price and good quality products. So that's a bargaining power of buyers. And threat of substitute goods and services means there will be the substitute for goods and services because they are unable to charge the prices. Substitute can two forms. We already seen the two forms. Products with the same function, the quality or a lesser. Quality will be in a lesser. The products the same price, the better quality. There are two substitute or goods and services. Under industry analysis, the second force which we are going to see is broad factors analysis. which means we'll see about this later. First, see what is PEST, PEST, which means political factors, P for political, E for economic, S for social, T for technological. These are the factors mainly including in broad factors analysis. And then industry analysis types, third one is SWOT analysis, which means strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. Under this, strength and opportunities are helpful to the organization and weakness, threats are harmful to the organization. Okay. The next topic which we are going to see is competitive analysis. The meaning. We now move into the competitive analysis of the industry. So market structure and competitive environment are depending factors in the future success of a business. There are six key factors, okay, that determine the level of competition in an industry. The factors which define the competition industry means, the first one, intensity of industry rivalry. We already seen this in competitive forces, Porter's 5 models, right? So we already seen in competitive analysis the key factors which are coming for a same thing is in the key factors in competitive analysis. So first one, industry, next, threat of potential enders, barriers to entry and bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, threats of substitute goods and services, and power of complementary goods and services providers. Next one, under competitive analysis. So by it, this is the main thing which they asked for: internal, external, global and domestic environment. So these are the types which we're going to see in a later. Just go through this diagram for your identification. Okay. So components of internal, external environment. First we're going to see the components. First we have to see what is internal environment. So it refers to all the factors within the organization which affect its functioning. So these factors are generally regarded as controllable. That is, the organization can alter or modify such factors. They can alter or modify such factors. So, and next is we're going to see external environment. External environment, mainly known as the external environment, consists of all factors which provide opportunities or pose threats to an organization. Means in wider sense, the external environment, a variety of factors like international, national, local economy, social changes, demographic values, political system, technology, attitude towards the business, energy sources and raw materials and other sources. And many other macro level factors make up the external environment. So we could designate such wide perception of an environment as a general environment. All organizations in some way or other are concerned about the general environment, but the immediate concern of an organization are confined just to a part of the general environment, which could be termed as a highly relevant environment, enables the organization to focus its attention on those factors which are intimately related to its mission, purpose, objectives and strategies. So depending on its perception of the relevant environment, an organization takes into account those influences in its surroundings which have an immediate impact on its strategic management process. So this is known as external environment. So under internal, so that the external environment have a micro and macroeconomic. Okay, so micro and macro. So what is a micro? Micro means factors have an important effect on a business operations of a firm. So micro factors have same effect of all the firms in the industry. For example, supply is an important element of micro element. are often willing to provide a material at relatively lower prices, the suppliers, to the big business firm. They do not have the same attitude towards the relatively in a small business, because they don't have the thing to make in a small business firms. Okay, the some important micro element of a business environment are described. Coming next slides. For micro environment, the first one is organization. So under micro environment, which I already said, for example, suppliers an important element micro level, they will organize, the main organizer suppliers will decide they can lower the prices of supplied goods or supplying goods to the larger organization, but they won't lower the price or reduce the price to the small organization, because they need to find the future benefits of the firm from one buyer organization to seller organization. So that's the organization. And second one is consumer or customers, which we gonna see the consumer or customers. In this consumer or customers, mainly the prime task for any business is to attract and retain the customers. Yes, this is to ensure its own long-term profitability and existence in the market. It therefore follows the need and the desire of the customer should be monitored minutely to ensure customer delight, which will lead to the firm having an increasing number of loyal customers. So changing taste and preferences of the customer should not only be observed as they happened, but forecasted before, and necessary corrections should be made in the product or service profile by the company. So customers are the backbone of a company and the very reason for the company's existence. Okay, the next which we're going to see is competitors. Competitors, without competition, they won't meet such a, they won't get a, such good customers. So with, if the competition is good, the organization will make more competition, they will develop more for getting more customers. The competitors means the world has become a global market. There exists tremendous competition in each and every area. There are other business entities that manufacture similar products and compete with the company for a market share and turnover. So these have to manage well, and market intelligence is required to find out about their future plans. So these can play a major role in making and marrying the fortunes of any company. So they have to manage for future upcoming the competitions. And the next one is market, which means those who facilitates the distribution of goods from the center of production to the various centers of a consumption. They are the middleman who form part of distribution channel, and those who help reach the products or a service to the ultimate consumer. So they can be few or a many in number, depending on the length of the distribution chain and type of distribution system that the company adopts. So if this chain is hassle free and functions without many hurdles, it eventually helps the organization. This is the market. And the last and finally, suppliers, which means an important factors in the microenvironment is the suppliers. Yes, because that is those who supply raw materials, the components and machines to the company. The suppliers should be reliable, act as a business partners, so working in a coordination in to fulfill the ultimate consumer expectation. If the supplies are reliable, there is no need to keep heavy inventory stocks that increase the risk of obsolescence and damages, and also blocks to working capital of the company. That's the suppliers. And finally, intermediates. Without intermediates, they can't able to sell or make the marketing with the consumers or customers. So intermediary is the main thing. So it can be a few or many in a number depending on the length of the distribution chain and type of distribution system that the company adopts. If the chain is hassle free, the function without the hurdles, it eventually help the organization. So under this in components, the next one is macro environment. So what is a macro? Macro means it is a large environment. So the macro, one sec. So mainly, what is a macro? So it means they offer tremendous opportunities for any business and also present threats, so that can harm a business in a major way. This environment becomes crucially important to understand and study for the purpose of strategic planning and decision making. It is broader dimensions that the microenvironment. It consists individuals, groups, agencies, events, conditions, and forces with which the organization comes into frequent contact in the course of its functioning. So the macro environment is actually the real environment factors that influence the growth and structure of any business to the greatest degree. So this is made up of following components. Under this macro environment, the first component is socio-cultural environment. So which means this consists of a society and cultural of a place where the organization is doing its business. It is generally entity and influences almost all firms in a similar manner. Some of the important factors or influences operating in the social environment are the buying the and consumption habits of a people. So their language, beliefs, values, customs and traditions, taste and preferences, education, all factors that affect the business. So in this, factors are listed. The first one is demographic. Characteristics such as a population, density, distribution. Second one is social concerns, which means a role of a business. Okay. Third one, social attitudes and values such as expectations. Fourth, family structures. Fifth, educational levels. Sixth, awareness and works ethics. Seventh, beliefs and value systems. And then last and final, local festivals. These are the factors or in socio-cultural environment. The second one, political environment, which consists of factors related to the market of the public affair and their impact on business of an organization. So in most countries, apart from those laws that control investment and related matters, that are a number of laws that regulate the conduct of the business. These laws cover such matters as standards of a product, packaging, promotion, etc. In this, India is a demographic country having stable political system where the government plays an active role as a planner, promoter and regulator of the economic activities. So by this, businessmen therefore are conscious of the political environment that their organization faces. Aspects which they are follows. The first one, general state of political development. Second, degree of politicians of a business and economic issues. Third one, the level of political morality. Fourth, the law and order situation. Fifth, political stability. Seventh, political ideology and practices of the ruling party. And then next, the law and order situation. How the law and order situation in the political level. And political stability. And finally, political ideology and practices of a ruling party. One who rules the ruling the country, they should find the practices which they are managing or maintaining. The third one is economic environment. Under this economic, The economic environment consists of macro level patterns related to the areas of production, distribution, wealth that have an impact on a business of an organization. So, in this, some of the important factors and influences operating in economic environments. What are the factors are including in means economic stages existing at the given time in a country. Then the economic structure adopted such as capitalistic, socialistic and mixed economy. Third, economic planning such as 5-year plan, annual budget, etc. Fourth, economic policies such as industrial, monetary and fiscal policies. Last one, last before that, economic indices like national income, distribution of income, rate of growth, growth of GNP. What is GNP? Gross net profit. Okay. So per capita income, disposable personal income, rate of savings, investment, value of imports, exports, balance of payments, etc. And the next one, infrastructural factors such as financial institutions, banks, modes, transportations, communication facility, energy sources, etc. So in this they have given some example. The first one which we're going to see is liberalization of the economy since the past 20 years has had mixed effects in Indian industry. Okay, in the Indian industry, which most of the companies have benefited in the terms of resulting freedom of an altered product mix and capacity. So, changing a market situation from that to acute scarcity for the comfortable surplus, this can be profits due decline. As a result, which may companies have not been able to sustain their business. So next one, public saving in India have been traditionally invested in fixed assets. It is an example for a economic. In fixed assets and precious metals, the share of savings invested in the government has been channeled through post offices and banks. So, however, of late, the investors have increasingly turned to the other avenues like stock markets and company deposits. So, leasing and financial companies, public sector bonds, mutual funds, venture capital business, newer financial instruments, entry of banks and financial institution in stock trading or some of the developments which provide the resources for capital market and project financing. The next one is regulatory environment, which means this environment consists of factors related to the planning, promotion, regulating the economic activities by the government. So some of the factors which is given in a regulatory environment is the constitutional framework, directive principles, fundamental rights and distribution of legislative power between a central and state government. The policies related to licensing monopolies, foreign investment and finance of industries. Third, policies related to the distribution and pricing and their control. Next, policies related to imports and exports, other policies related to public sectors, small scale industries like sick industries, development of backward areas, control of environment pollutions. So in this, business and industry operates within the regulatory environment. So the relationship between the industry and regulatory environment exists two-way process. The government lays down the policies, procedures, rules according to which the industry functions. So there are a number of administrative controls over that are exercised through the regulatory mechanism. In this areas to control means regulatory areas to control is first one industry policy and licensing. They are controlling the industry policy and licensing, monopolies, restrictive trade practices, legislation related to the company's operation, import and export control, and control over foreign exchange, then control over foreign investment and collaboration, control through consumer protection, control of environmental pollutions. These are under regulatory environment. The next one in this, which we want to see, technological environment, which means it consists for those factors related to the knowledge applied and the material and machines used in the production of goods and services that have an impact on the business of an organization. For any enterprise, technology is the most dynamic of all environment factors. So if the technology is good, the human work will be in less if they understood. Okay, so that an individual firm is concerned with its product and process technology. Under this, product technology, how the product should be published or a marketing. Okay, these are the technology. Process technology means how from raw materials to finished goods, how the product should be in processing. Okay, these environment consist of those factors, the factors which are following now. Sources of technology, like a company sources, external sources, foreign sources, they will find the sources. For the models, they will find the models. So technological development means stages of development, change and rate of change of technology and reach and development. Third one, impact of technology on human beings, means the man, machine system and the environmental effects of the technology. Then finally, communication infrastructural technology, the technology in a market. So these are the technology in a market. So in this, next one is demographic environment. Okay, so demographic means this environment deals with the composition and characteristic of population of a place, the place which the organization running, which the environment is. So it consists how many of the population. So all the relevant description of the population is a place respect to its demographic profile will affect public decisions, business decision alternately. So it would be in interest of any firm consider these aspects, the aspects which are following now. Average family size, how much the family size, size of the population, educational levels, economic stratification of the economic quality, means economic situations, job profiles, sex ratio, male and female ratio, life expectancy, religion or a caste or a customs or a tradition, and spatial mobility of the population. So these the components of a business environment. So under this, the general environment of an organization I already given the vital components, the same thing which is under business environment and general environment too. You can study both. If any topic left in a both, you have to alternate that. Please go through the material.